Speech outline. Shame makes us hide, courage makes us shine hook. The hidden prison of shame grab attention with a vivid story or scenario, illustrating how shame silently controls us, trapping us in fear, hiding our true selves from the world. Deliver powerful psychological insight on shame's crippling effect on identity and growth. Inspire immediate self-recognition and spark curiosity about the alternative, courage. Breaking the chains. What courage really means, define courage not as absence of fear, but the act of stepping forward in spite of it. Explore how courage is a muscle anyone can build, a decision to stand in your truth. Use motivational principles and examples of transformative courage to show how shining lights the way out of shame's darkness. Provide practical mindset shifts and strategies to start practicing courageous living today. The power of vulnerability. Your greatest strength deep dive into vulnerability as the birthplace of authenticity and connection. Debunk myths that vulnerability is weakness. Show it as ultimate strength and freedom. Share inspiring examples from real life, psychology, and culture. Silencing the inner critic. Reclaiming your story, identify how shame feeds the inner critic and self-sabotage. Teach techniques to recognize and neutralize shame-based self-talk. Empower listeners to rewrite their narrative from one of shame to one of power. Living out loud. Courage in action guide the audience through actionable steps to courageously show up in relationships, work, and life. Encourage daily rituals that reinforce confidence and self-acceptance. Paint a compelling vision of a life fully lived and deeply impactful. Conclusion and call to action. Step into your light today, reaffirm the choice. Hide in shame or shine with courage. Challenge listeners to take one brave step immediately, no matter how small. Leave with a final soaring message that stokes passion, hope, and unstoppable momentum. Expanded Section 1. The hidden prison of shame. Imagine for a moment that you are locked inside a room, invisible walls so clear you don't even see them. You can sense the world beyond, light, sound, connection, but you remain trapped, isolated, silent. This room isn't built by anyone else. It's constructed brick by one powerful force inside you. Shame is the unseen prison warden that keeps us hiding, shrinking, numbing ourselves in the shadows. It is the silent whisper that tells us we are not enough, that our true selves are unworthy of love, respect, or success. Shame is a universal experience, yet it operates like a thief in the night, stealing our confidence, muting our voice, and robbing us of the courage to show up fully. It's the feeling that our flaws, mistakes, or past define us permanently, that if anyone really knew who we are underneath the surface, they would reject us. And so, we hide. We put on masks. We retreat into our comfort zones, afraid to risk exposure, afraid to risk judgment. But here's the devastating truth. The more we hide, the more shame grows. It thrives in silence and secrecy. Every moment we spend shrinking, we reinforce its grip on our identity. We become strangers to ourselves, walking through life with a self-imposed invisibility cloak. We settle for less, not because we deserve less, but because shame convinces us that we do. Think about the times you've felt that knot in your stomach, the dread of someone seeing your imperfections, or the fear of failing so badly you become a less than. That is shame whispering lies. It is the voice that says, "Don't try, don't dream, don't speak up." But what if you chose to refuse those lies? What if, instead of shrinking back, you leaned into the discomfort and stood tall? Shame may be powerful, but it is not permanent. It is a feeling, not a fact. And the moment you face it head-on, it begins to lose its power. Courage is the key that unlocks the door to freedom. Imagine the courage it takes to stand in the mirror and say, "I am enough, just as I am." Imagine the power of deciding that your past mistakes do not define your future, that your flaws are part of your humanity, not your disqualification. This is not naive optimism. It is a radical act of rebellion against shame's rule. Every great story of transformation begins with this moment of choice, the choice to stop hiding and start shining. It is terrifying, yes, because courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of fear. It is stepping into the light knowing that shadows will still exist, but refusing to let them control you. You are not alone in this fight. Every person you admire, every person who has ever broken free from the chains of shame, has faced the same battle. What separates them is not perfection, but the relentless commitment to courage over comfort. Courage is messy, it is raw, it is imperfect. But it is also beautiful, liberating, and contagious. Today, I invite you to see shame for what it really is. A call to courage. A challenge to reclaim your voice, your story, and your light. Because when you choose courage, you stop hiding, you start shining. And the world desperately needs your light. Expanded Section 2, Breaking the Chains. What courage really means courage is one of those words that gets tossed around like a spark of magic, something heroic and rare, reserved for warriors, leaders, or those few extraordinary souls. But the truth is, courage is not about fearlessness. It is not a trait you're born with or without. Courage is a decision, a daily practice, a muscle you build by showing up for yourself over and over again. Let me be clear. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward in the presence of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It means saying yes to life even when every part of you screams a no. This is where transformation lives, right on the edge of discomfort. Because growth, because breakthrough, happens when we refuse to let fear keep us in the shadows. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a cliff. Below is the unknown, and the mind races with the what-if scenarios. What if I fail? What if I get hurt? What if I'm not strong enough? Courage isn't about magically not feeling those fears. It's about taking the step anyway. And here's what's most powerful. Courage isn't just for massive moments. It's the tiny decisions that add up every day. Speaking your truth when it's easier to stay silent, trying again after failure, asking for help when pride says no, setting boundaries even when you fear rejection. These are the courageous acts that make us shine brighter. Psychology teaches us that courage grows when we practice vulnerability and resilience. Every time you show up as your authentic self, you weaken shame's hold and strengthen your identity. This is why courage and vulnerability are inseparable. They are the twin pillars of a life fully lived. Think of the stories of people who changed the world, not because they were fearless, but because they acted despite their fears. Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai, countless artists, entrepreneurs, and everyday heroes, none of them had perfect confidence from the start. What they had was a commitment to rise again, to keep going, to dare greatly. And you have that same capacity. Inside you is a wellspring of courage waiting to be tapped, waiting to be unleashed. The first step is deciding to believe it. To believe that you can shine, no matter how heavy the shame has been. Practical strategies to build this courage muscle are simpler than you might think. Start small. Choose one moment each day to do something courageous. Speak up, try something new, show kindness to yourself, reframe fear. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, see it as a green light for growth. Fear means you're on the edge of something important. Surround yourself with courage. Seek out stories, people, and environments that inspire bravery and authenticity. Practice self-compassion. Courage isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. When you stumble, be kind to yourself and get back up. Courage is a choice, and it is yours to make every single day. So here's the challenge. What would your life look like if you made courage your default? If instead of hiding behind shame, you chose to show up fully and boldly? The answer is simple yet profound. You would shine. You would live free. You would inspire others to do the same. It's time to break the chains. Time to step into your power. Because when you embrace courage, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just live, you light up the world. Absolutely. Here's the expanded Section 3. The power of vulnerability. Your greatest strength in the same high-energy motivational style. There is a powerful myth that vulnerability is weakness, that to be vulnerable is to expose us to harm, to risk rejection, to reveal cracks in our armor that others might exploit. But nothing could be further from the truth. Vulnerability is not a defect. It is the essence of courage and the foundation of real strength. It is the gateway to connection, to authenticity, and ultimately to freedom. Think about it. How can we truly shine if we never let the world see the real us? How can we form meaningful bonds, inspire trust, or create lasting impact if we keep our hearts locked away, hidden behind walls built from fear and shame? Vulnerability is the act of daring to be seen fully without the pretense or the mask. It's the willingness to expose your true self even when you don't know how the world will respond. And here's the electrifying truth. Vulnerability is magnetic. It draws people in because it is human. It invites others to lower their defenses, to meet you on the same authentic ground. When you show your cracks, you give permission for others to show theirs. This is how trust is built. This is how true leadership is born. Psychologists like Brené Brown, who have studied vulnerability for decades, show us that vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity, innovation, and change. When you are willing to risk failure, rejection, or judgment, you open the door to growth and transformation. Vulnerability fuels courage because it strips away the illusion of control and forces you to rely on your inner strength. You don't have to be perfect to be courageous. You have to be real. You have to be willing to say, I don't have it all figured out. You have to stand in your discomfort and say, here I am, imperfect but enough. That is revolutionary. That is powerful. That is the choice that transforms shame into light. Consider the times you've connected most deeply with another person. Not through superficial small talk, but through honesty and openness. Maybe it was a moment when you admitted a mistake, shared a fear, or expressed a dream. Those moments crack open the walls and build bridges. They create intimacy, respect, and loyalty. In your career, your relationships, your personal growth, vulnerability is the secret ingredient that sets apart the average from the extraordinary. It is what allows you to innovate without the fear of failure, to lead with empathy rather than authority, and to inspire others with your authenticity rather than your facade. But how do you practice vulnerability when shame's voice is loud, telling you to stay hidden? You start by redefining what vulnerability means for you. It doesn't mean sharing everything with everyone all at once. It means taking small, intentional steps toward openness. It means trusting yourself enough to say your truth in safe spaces and learning to tolerate discomfort in the process. Here's a practical way to begin. Identify one area where you tend to hide or shrink. Maybe it's sharing your ideas at work, expressing your feelings in relationships, or pursuing a dream that feels risky. Choose one small act of vulnerability related to that area today. Speak up in a meeting, tell someone how you really feel, or start that project you've been putting off. The goal isn't perfection, it's presence. Every time you practice vulnerability, you weaken shame's grip. Every time you risk being seen, you strengthen your courage muscle. Over time, those small acts accumulate, and you build a life that is not only brave but also deeply fulfilling. Remember, vulnerability is your greatest strength. It is the light that burns away shame's darkness. It is the energy that propels you forward when fear tries to hold you back. When you embrace vulnerability, you don't just survive hardship, you rise from it stronger, wiser, and more radiant. So let yourself be seen. Let yourself be heard. Let your imperfect, powerful self shine through. The world is waiting for your light. Section 4. Silencing the inner critic. Reclaiming your story, crafted to keep that high energy, motivational and emotionally compelling tone. There's a voice inside you, the loudest, most relentless voice you'll ever hear. It's the inner critic. It's the judge who scrutinizes every move, magnifies every flaw, and whispers endless and not enough messages into your mind. That voice, it's not your truth. It's shame disguised as your inner dialogue, a script you didn't write but learned to believe. This critic feeds on your fear, on your self-doubt, on your vulnerability. It keeps you locked in cycles of comparison, perfectionism, and paralysis. It's the invisible prison guard that convinces you to shrink, to apologize for your existence, to silence your ambitions before they even take flight. But here's the secret you must hear loud and clear. You can silence this voice. You can reclaim your story. And when you do, you step into a power so fierce it will transform every area of your life. The first step in this transformation is awareness. You cannot fight what you don't recognize. Start listening closely to your inner critic, the patterns, the tone, the timing. When does it show up? Is it when you try something new? When you face rejection? When you look in the mirror? Naming the voice gives it less power. It takes it from being an unconscious bully to a conscious opponent you can challenge. Next, you must question every message that voice throws at you. Is it really true? Most often, the inner critic tells lies dressed as facts. It says, you're not good enough. You'll never succeed. Who do you think you are? These are not truths. They are fear-driven illusions created to keep you small. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have for this thought? Would I say this to someone I love? Would I allow a friend to speak to themselves this way? The answer is usually no, so why accept it from yourself? Now here's the power move. Replace the inner critic with your own champion, the voice of self-compassion and truth. This voice says, I am worthy, I am learning, I am enough. It speaks to you with kindness and encouragement, not judgment. You train this voice by consciously choosing affirmations, gratitude, and recognizing your wins, no matter how small. Psychology teaches us that rewiring our self-talk rewires our brain. The more you affirm your worth, the stronger your confidence grows, the less space shame and fear have to operate. This isn't fluffy positivity, it's neuroscience and real change. But reclaiming your story also means rewriting your narrative. The story shame tells is often one of failure, rejection, and inadequacy. You must become the author of a new story, one of resilience, courage, and growth. Frame your past not as a chain, but as a stepping stone. See your challenges as proof of your strength, your survival, your capacity to rise. Imagine your life as a book. You hold the pen. Every day is a new page. What story do you want to tell? One of defeat or one of triumph? This is the moment to take back control. Your light doesn't just illuminate your path, it lights the way for countless others. This is the legacy you're building, the legacy of a life lived boldly, fully, and unapologetically. It's a life where shame no longer controls your choices or defines your identity. It's a life where courage makes you shine brighter than you ever imagined. So rise up, step into the spotlight. Choose courage over fear, action over hesitation, light over hiding. The world needs your brilliance now more than ever. Don't let shame keep you in the shadows any longer. Live out loud, loud. Shine unapologetically. Be the fearless force of change you were born to be. Because when you do, you don't just change your life, you change the world. Final section, your call to courage. Ignite your light now, closing with power and an irresistible call to action. This is your moment. The moment to step out of the shadows that shame has cast over your life and into the fierce, unstoppable light of your own courage. No more hiding, no more silence, no more shrinking. The time to ignite your light, to claim your power, is right now. Look back for a second and remember all the times you doubted yourself, all the moments when shame whispered lies that you weren't enough, worthy, or capable. Those lies were never true. They were chains, illusions created to keep you small. But today you break those chains. Today you say enough. You have everything you need inside you. The strength, the fire, the resilience. Courage has been waiting patiently inside your heart, ready to explode into a force that changes everything. But courage isn't a gift you wait for. It's a decision you make. A decision to rise, to fight, to shine no matter what. Here's the truth. Courage is contagious. The more you live boldly, the more you inspire others to find their own light. Your bravery becomes a beacon in a world desperate for hope and authenticity. When you stop hiding, you create space for others to do the same. You become a catalyst for change. Not just in your life, but in your community, your family, your world. And here's something even more powerful. Shame loses when you show up fully. It thrives in silence and isolation, but withers under the spotlight of your truth. Every time you speak up, every time you choose vulnerability, every time you act in spite of fear, you weaken shame's grip and grow stronger. So I'm challenging you, right now, to take one bold step. Maybe it's speaking your truth to someone you care about. Maybe it's pursuing a dream you've buried for too long. Maybe it's saying no to what no longer serves you and yes to what lights you up. Whatever it is, do it with everything you've got. Because small steps fueled by courage lead to seismic shifts. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. Willing to be uncomfortable. Willing to face fear head on. Willing to say, this is me, I am enough. Remember this, courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. It is acting in spite of fear, not because you aren't scared, but because you know your light is worth more than your fear. And your light, your unique brilliance, is exactly what this world needs. Right now, take a deep breath and say it out loud. I am done hiding. I choose courage. I will shine. Feel that power rising inside you. That is your true self breaking free. That is your destiny calling. Stand tall, walk boldly into your life. And let your courage be the spark that ignites a wildfire of transformation. Not just for you, but for everyone around you. The world is waiting for your light to shine. So go, step into your power, live out loud, shine unapologetically, and watch how everything changes. Because when courage makes you shine, nothing can stop you.